By the 1950s, GM was enjoying tremendous success with a number of their models and decided to take a risk. The first generation Corvette was intended to be a showpiece at the 1953 Motorama, but generated enough buzz throughout the industry to provoke the GM executives to fast-track the car into production. However, sales did not reflect the reception at the Motorama.
The Corvette debuted in 1953, but it wasn't as warmly embraced as I think Chevrolet would like it to have been. It really was a little bit more basic than American buyers were used to, especially if they were paying that kind of money for a car.
The 1953 Corvette was not in demand because of the six-cylinder engine. I mean, people loved the car. Everybody wanted it, but they wanted the performance because that was the big shift that was taking place.
The design and engineering team took their time with the second generation Corvettes, actually first introducing the Stingray concept car in 1959. Then, for the next 4 years, dubiously and meticulously crafted and perfected what would become the iconic 63 split-window coupe.
Between 1953 and 1963, there was a big shift in American design and international design. And cars went from being voluptuous and full-figured to being fleet and linear and very aggressive looking. And the Corvette was no exception. 1963 was also the first year that a Corvette was offered in a coupe version. Up until then, it was always an open roadster with the availability of a removable hardtop. But here in 1963, you could get a Corvette that was a roadster with or without a removable hardtop, or a coupe, a fastback coupe.
Generational changes of Corvette are always fascinating, and now of course we're in the 7th generation. But when you had the split window, which was a 1 year, in 62 it wasn't there, 63 it had it, and it was gone after that. And people actually sought them out in the years following, and then they of course regretted it later on, because the split window makes the car so individualistic. It's highly sought after today.
Even with over 10,000 split-window coupes produced that year, they're still considered a great find today. Possibly because the car has become emblematic of a generation where style was king, even at the expense of safety.
Because the split-window Corvette only lasted for 1 year, those vehicles are more valued to people because they're more unusual. You don't see a split-window car all the time, hardly ever. And so people go to auto shows and they take pictures of the 63s, they brag to their friends that they saw one.
Some were to say, like Zorro, for example, he didn't like the fact that you couldn't see unobstructed out the rearview mirror. I believe the final say fell to Harley because of the design of the 56 Golden Rocket concept car, which literally, the 63, if you look at them side by side, it was almost practically lifted off. It's like the 53 cockpit of the original Corvette coming from the muse of the LeSabre with that incredible sweeping panoramic windshield. That's what this, the 63, the split was to the car. It was so original. It was such a one-of-a-kind design.
This particular split-window coupe has a 327 V8 with 300 horsepower, making it one of 8,033. This car has become a milestone in the industry, believed to be the most significant model in Corvette history. It was the picture of automotive distinction, aggressive, beautiful, and visionary.
What set Corvette apart from the other manufacturers who were also considering making two-seater cars during the mid-1950s was the fact that they had a corporate willingness to see the project through. They almost dropped it after 1955, but decided to stick with it 1 more year, and I think every American car enthusiast is very glad that they opted to do that. And Corvette has really been the only proper American sports car on the market since that time.
The 63 was an incredible powerhouse when it came to beauty and utility. It had the power and it had the grace, and that's what people want. That's what, when they're buying an American car in the early 60s, that car was a real head turner.
Few cars can match the impact the 63 had on car culture in the middle century. It redefined the rules, raised the standards, and paved the way for innovators to follow their passions and get their creations out on the road.